Boom, we're live. Modern Relics Podcast. I'm Angel. He's Lucky. We're back again. It's
We are
Tuesday. It
again.
must be Tuesday. We're here.
Must be Tuesday.
What's good in the hood, man?
Oh, not a lot. It's been a very kind of uneventful week for me as far as anything outside of work. Didn't do really. Oh, there's something
Sure.
exciting. My wonderful, amazing, very gifted and talented wife, who makes soap, is now a two-time Blue Ribbon First Place Award-winning soap maker as of the Kootenai County Fairgrounds.
Oh,
She won both categories, first place.
are
Bravo.
there other people that contend for this prize that she can
Yes.
rub their noses in it year over year?
I wish. There is somebody locally that we do get to do that with, and I'm not going to name the company because it is a
Well,
It
because clearly
funds-
they're inferior 2 years in a row.
well, yeah. Well,
Why
they're
beat on them when
inferior.
they're downtrodden already?
Right. Well, they didn't compete. They weren't
Oh.
in this competition, but there
Scared
is
too, I
another
bet.
local company. Right. Yeah. The confrontation is not their thing unless they're behind a screen. But
The wild,
It's-
inside, dark world of soap making. Next.
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually what's wild is that they kind of copied her, but it is a soap venture by some of the local groypers that we hate, right? And they came up with their own soap to like help fund their podcast program. And so, but they pretend it's not theirs. They pretend it's not like they're like, oh yeah, this company sponsors us, when everyone knows it's the dude's wife that actually makes all the soap.
Dude,
And
dude,
because
what-
yeah, we get like
what are the-
70% of the proceeds go to the show.
What are the like fragrance options like hatred?
Yeah.
Like
Supremacy.
yeah, supremacy. Just
Yeah.
That's-
But they could just grab one off the carnival lot and then just pull them in there and just lather them up to see which ones work the best, you know?
Yeah.
Clean up a carny at the same time. Like, but no. No, but she won. And so now she is officially an award-winning soap maker.
That's incredible.
And, yeah. So,
I hope she starts a
Um,
soap empire pretty soon, expands operations, starts going national, international, even. Just keep on making soap.
if she
all-
does that,
Mhm.
and then creates this soap empire, and all I would do is podcast all the time.
Yeah.
I'd tattoo when I felt like it on friends, and then I would just podcast and fight with people on the internet probably. So it's probably better that she doesn't have this empire, because it's probably better
Turn you
for
into
my
a
mental
digital
health.
monster.
Yeah. It's the only reason I don't have time. Like I would literally the amount of self-control that I exude on a daily basis of going, that is a fight that I really want to get into,
Hmm.
but I just did the time math on it, and I will end up foregoing all of the things that I should be doing in the day
Yep.
to prove this person I've never met or that doesn't really matter wrong.
Yeah.
Now, if I had the time, I get an endorphin hit like heroin every time I get on and fight online. I think I get it from my mom. I think there's a genetic component to that. But like I do love me a good internet scrap.
See, I'm
And-
the exact opposite. I enjoy a well thought out conversation, even if it's a difference of opinion. But the haggling ideologies back and forth type of thing, principally, I could give two squirts of piss about. Like I would rather watch paint on the walls until something creative popped into my head than have to contend with idiocy on the internet. So I'm
Oh yeah,
amazed
lowbrow
that people
for
have
sure.
the fortitude to do that. So my hat's off to you, but I can't. Yeah.
Well, it's not, and I'm not in it to change minds. I know that nobody's going to change mine,
Mhm.
and I'm not in it to change anybody else's. But um, it is definitely lowbrow.
Yeah.
It is a without a doubt, I would say, uh, what is it called when you have a something you enjoy that you shouldn't?
Like a vice.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit, a little vicey.
Hmm.
But I would, yeah, it's definitely something I know I should not engage in. But it tickles my fancy from time to time, and it's probably just due to built up frustration with living with teenagers
Yeah. Could be that.
and having no outlet to really say all the mean things that go on in your head,
Hmm.
and then you find idiots online. You go, I get to say it to them instead of my kids.
Right.
So you know, it is what it is.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe the soap empire is on the way, and you can fulfill that for a while, and be like, I got to tell 4,000 people they were stupid this month, and now it's
I
on a
reached my
shirt that I'm
goal.
selling
Yes.
or something. I don't know how
Yeah.
that works. You got to I've never been good at monetizing my ideas.
I've
I
got
was
two shirts that I'm having Aaron make me right now, and one of them says "Come at me, bro," Matthew 18.
Yeah.
And then another one that says "Lucky Barnard is a psyop."
Yeah.
So that way I can wear that to local political meetings that all think that I'm a Fed.
I love that one deeply with all my heart. Yeah, I'm always bummed that like I've had these ideas in my head for a long time, and then someone else will come out with them on a podcast, and I'm like, damn it! Like,
Yeah.
that's exactly. I was listening to one. There's a extraordinarily popular podcast by Bill Simmons that I'm a huge fan of, and one of his buddies who works for, I think, Fox Sports, is another sports personality. He comes on once in a while. They've been friends for decades, and his segment always once, twice a year, he comes on with half baked ideas, and I'm like, dude, we do this shit all the time. Like, it's stuff that's like funny, but clearly not well thought out. This week they were entertaining. He's like, all right, so follow me. Things you're good at. You're at the barbecue. You're cooking a fantastic meal for the kids, the wife, maybe a couple friends are coming over. You've got everything set out. But bread, you can't, like, you, who has time for this? It's too soggy. By the time you bring it home, it could be too crunchy or dried out. So what about an ice cream truck that just cruises around your neighborhood around dinner time, but only sells bread? And like, instead of ice cream, and then you could just be like, oh, the bread truck, I can hear him. And you roll out there and you're set, and it doesn't cost you that much. And it's practically delivered exactly when you need it. I'm like, that's a perfect half-baked idea. That's insane.
That's
Like,
absolutely correct. Yeah.
he does
I
shit
would-
like that all the time, and I love them for doing it, because I'm like, I think about this hourly.
Yeah.
I've got so many
My-
half-baked ideas. It's great. It's a killer
My
segment.
wife actually has like my wife wants so badly for the ice cream man to actually be a taco truck that's actually mobile and goes neighborhood to neighborhood and plays some Mexican song. Amazing too, because their wives are always happier when they're full of tacos.
Sure.
So like this will absolutely create peace amongst the households with wives that are full of tacos. I think this is a genius idea, and I think that I don't understand why it hasn't been implemented. I think the Mexican community is really doing itself a disservice by not doing this. I think they would be.
Well, with enough demand, I think they'll come around now that they know that you're out there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know how many white girls need to be wearing "Mama Loves Tacos" tank tops for them to get the hint, but like.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a there's a there's a million ways that could work with just a little effort. When she's done with the soap empire, perhaps she herself could fire up some, maybe even get some real-time mariachi players and just cruise around the neighborhood and sell her own brand of street taco.
I'll learn to play the mandolin.
There you
Screw
go.
it.
A
Let's
lute,
do it.
maybe. I know that's old school.
Yeah.
Could work. I don't know.
Yeah.
for Monica. So I'll respond with there has not been anything going on in my week at all. It's the exact same stuff. Work is fucking crazy. It's nuts. And I'm certain it's coming to an end for me at some point in the near future. So like there's just so many logistical things that my head's been tied up with that I really have been pretty unplugged for the last month or so. So I don't have a whole lot. I do have a piece that will run on this podcast in a little bit with CNN. So I don't have much this week either, but yeah, Texas follow-up, district remapping, some shit happened.
Yes.
Talk to me what's going on. So this was successful.
Yeah, well,
and
so
everyone's
last
a
week we
Democrat
spoke
now in
about it.
Texas. Is that
right?
That's
yeah,
correct.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, last week we had kind of discussed that they were trying to redistrict move around the districts and redistrict Texas. And the Democrats weren't happy about it because it was going to basically put them on their heels. They were going to lose a lot of constituents within their kind of built up districts that they kind of fabricated by implementing different legislation that helped them win. And the rules were used against them and they weren't happy.
Mm-hmm.
So they did it all legally. Everything was on board and man, are they pissed about it. So they ran. And the last we heard, like Ken Paxton and the Governor Abbott were threatening to put them in.
You're going to track them down.
In cuffs and track them down. Well, turns out when they followed the money, turns out Beto O'Rourke.
Beto, there's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Right. He was actually responsible for the PAC
that
was paying for them.
Hell yes,
to
we're going to
actually
take your guns.
Yeah. Paying for them to be secretly housed up in Illinois, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in a hotel up there.
Where did he get that kind of money? Surely it wasn't from tax dollars.
Right. So
Jesus.
Now Ken Paxton is actually calling for, even on Twitter, but he's calling for charges to be put against Beto. He said, I'm taking action to hold Robert Francis O'Rourke in contempt for violating a court order and scamming Texans. Beto is about to find out that running your mouth and ignoring the rule of law has consequences in Texas. It's time to lock him up. And then he put out an official document on it, and it looks like he's actually going after him. So we'll see how that plays out. But in the meantime, it would appear that as of today, the Texas Senate officially passes new congressional map, and all of the Democrats, because they finally got enough people to have a quorum, a few of them came back, and it made enough. Despite 9 of the 11 Senate Democrats walking out before the vote, leaving the floor nearly empty, the Republican majority pressed ahead. And they had enough for a quorum. The map passed 19-2 along party lines. It's designed to create up to 5 new Republican-drawn U.S. House seats in anticipation for the 2026 midterm elections. So this mid-decade redistricting isn't about fair representation. It's about politicians picking their voters instead of voters choosing their leaders, the Senate Democrat caucus said. So they're real mad about it.
Yeah.
And that's when they walked out. But it's not. It's actually the same thing that they do, all the time in every state. They do redistricting. This time, the cards were just played legally in the hands of the Republicans that honestly was correcting wrongs from the past. And they knew the jig was up, and they are now having to play defense instead of offense, and they're not happy about it, especially coming up into the midterms. So, but that's the update for Texas. We'll see what happens with our good buddy No Guns Beto. But after that, it's all said and done. I think Texas has just got a little redder, and it's probably for the better.
Well, how about that turn of events?
Yeah,
That's unfortunate
So-
that they're complaining about it, running from their job duties, having to be
Mhm.
forced back in to then walk out before the vote takes place, to then get an unfavorable result to begin with. Why go through the theater of it? News cycle stuff,
Yeah.
I suppose.
yeah.
Speaking of news,
Tell me.
I have some issues with CNN.
I got very little information on this today. Just basically the headline that you just told me.
Yeah.
And you wanted to throw down with
Well,
with the network itself.
yeah, like people have asked me recently, like, you know, are the news cycles really that different from channel to channel? And I'm like, well, I'll point you to a segment of the podcast where my brother was at the gym and could in real time
bring that up.
You know what I mean? Like you could see
Two different worlds.
they're
Same story, two
Yeah.
separate universes. Yeah.
So I read an article and then CNN's kind of public facing remarks about it. Nielsen, the TV ratings came out.
Yeah.
What do TNT, Food Network, Discovery, Hallmark Mysteries, not the actual Hallmark channel, the Mysteries channel, TLC, TBS, History, HGTV, USA, and MSNBC all have in common?
Can I shoot a guess?
Yeah.
That every single one of those networks had better ratings and pulled in more money than CNN.
Yeah. In the primetime
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
Like a 42% departure year over year in ratings drop in 1 year. And so basically the excerpt, this comes from an Amazon subsidized news source called Cord Cutters. But in a stunning blow to one of America's most storied news networks, CNN suffered a dramatic collapse in viewership in July 25, according to its lowest primetime ratings in history. The Nielsen data reveals that CNN's primetime lineup, 8 to 11 p.m., averaged a mere 497,000 total viewers, a catastrophic 42% drop from July 2024. Figures mark a steep decline for the network, which trailed far behind competitors MSNBC and Fox News, despite a news cycle packed with major political developments and a global crisis. CNN says, agree. We aim to fix the problem and recapture our younger audiences by looking into different platforms. My take on this. Okay, you should look for innovation, and you should always be looking for new platforms to expand your business model for some exposure. I don't think that's your problem, though. I think it's honesty and integrity. Like, how about you stop lying and stop blaming the world's problems on racism? Like,
Right.
in recent history, the outright lies that should have been way bigger news cycles to combat the false headlines that have been proven. Just a handful from recent memory. The Russian collusion piece with Trump in 2016, the walls closing in on the Mueller report and relentlessly promoting the Steele dossier. Horseshit. The Nick Sandmann piece, the Kentucky student, you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
Horseshit. And they settled with his family for $250 million lawsuit out of court.
Right.
And they never reported again on that one. The ivermectin stuff and Joe Rogan, the Jussie Smollett bullshit from a few years back. Like, those are just big pieces over a small handful of things where I'm like, these are just over the last few years. Like, and this is also just what you've been publicly caught for. I don't think the platform is the problem, guys.
No.
But that's the only hill they're dying on at the moment in the face of obliteration.
It's a bad hill to die on, because the fact of the matter is that all of their all of their clips for all of their news shows, they have on YouTube. And they do so abysmally, even because they are promoted and pushed to the trending categories constantly, and even if you're subscribed to them or not, they're constantly fed to you in YouTube. They still do poorly. No one watches them even on alternate methods of not just tuning into the cable network channel. Like any other platform that they're going to be on, they're going to still suffer for the fact that nobody wants to watch them due to the fact that they do not tell the truth. And they never have. The only reason CNN even existed up until this point is because we were forced fed it in airports. Every airport had it on every TV, and they had a contract with them. But even most airports are cutting their contracts with CNN. And all of their pundits are getting sued. All of their pundits are being blasted and removed for different like getting in trouble. It's one after the other, and they're a skeleton crew now, and they're going to have to try to rebrand and rebuild from there. I honestly think that CNN we're about to hear a death rattle.
Well, and I think that for most traditional media outlets to begin with, at least that's the strong trend that hasn't really moved. And it's like, cool, and I love the whole, if you want to go back to politics, well, the left just needs to find themselves a Joe Rogan. And it's like, they had one, his name was Joe Rogan. Like, I don't think that's your problem. Again, I think it's the ethics behind the news stories, and that
which is why you lost Joe Rogan.
Right.
Like, Joe Rogan would have been there on CNN. He would have. It's
the same recipe for the same answer. It's just, you guys need to acknowledge it and move away from bullshit narratives. But
I think it's more than, I think there's more than entrenched. I think it is the fabric of what they are. They were absolutely a narrative site. They were never strictly news. It was to steer the conversation in a political bent in one direction. And it gets people like my grandma and a bunch of people I used to be friends with that literally that's all they consume. My grandma has CNN or MSNBC, and she's 87, by the way. So this is kind of their core demographic of people who are just used to legacy media being their only source, because they were told their whole lives that was the news. Right. And now because of the internet and because of alternative media and because of different now independent journalism, that what ended up happening is that all got exposed as Mockingbird Media. That got all exposed as like, oh, they've been lying to you for decades and decades. And they did it on purpose. It wasn't like they were just ratings chasing, which had a little to do with it. And they could hide behind ratings chasing. Oh, we did it because of ratings. I know it was our bad. We'll fix it. But the reality is that it was intentional all along. It had nothing to do with ratings. They needed the narrative of the entire nation to go in one direction, and it would. Like a swarm of birds, it would veer whichever way those media sources would demand. And so now the flock has gotten very small in that group of birds, and it's a dying breed, and it's not going to last very long, to the point that, this also kind of falls into their entertainment categories, such as the Stephen Colbert situation, where Stephen Colbert was a mouthpiece for this. Yeah. And he obviously got tanked because nobody was watching it. He was losing $40 million a year. Did you see the move that was an obvious move by NBC this week, which was that Jimmy Fallon had what's his name? I just had his name in my head. The guy from Red Eye, from Fox News, the Greg Gutfeld.
I was going to say Gutfeld?
Yeah, he had Greg Gutfeld on Jimmy Fallon, which was shocking to everybody across both sides of the aisle, going, wait, what? and they're chucking it, you know, chuckling and laughing it up. And apparently, they've been longtime friends that used to go do stuff together. And everyone was blown away.
Yeah.
But it was such an obvious move to go, oh no, we're going to get Colbert unless we pull audience in.
Right.
And sure enough, that Jimmy Fallon show
The
had
most
the
watched
best
Jimmy
numbers
Fallon show in years.
in years.
Yeah.
Years. And so and even Fox News, man, there's very little on Fox News that's worth watching. Gutfeld is probably anything that guy's in is something that is probably the only thing worth watching nowadays on Fox. But even Fox is trash. So
And they're
nobody
out of
watches those.
personalities too, because like Hannity kind of fell off. What was
Tucker's gone.
Tucker's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them that were the big name, or what's her name, the blonde, the mean blonde lady.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, they had like the lineup, and now they've got like Jesse Waters and they've got Greg Gutfeld, but really they don't have anybody really else on that. Judge Perino or something like that, but like not the heavy hitters they used to, you know.
I guess
Hannity.
my point, while I'm not looking forward to seeing CNN airing on twitch.tv or YouTube or whatever, wherever they choose to go next.
That will happen there.
I just, maybe if y'all think about the content that you're producing and start with ethics and integrity, maybe you'd see some turnaround there instead of every other reason that you can look forward to. Well, we're not getting enough youth. Well, it's these podcasters. It's this, it's that. Yeah.
Tim Pool's doing circles around those guys. It's like, love him or hate him, Tim Pool is getting triple the primetime numbers that anybody on CNN is getting. That, what does that tell you? It tells you that it's not about the platform. It's about what you're producing, and what you're producing is low integrity lies. Like, you have no integrity and nobody believes you anymore.
It's rabble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved that was their defense of it. And I was like, actually, I don't think so. DC cleanup. What do you got for us in Washington, DC?
So the DC cleanup it's been wild over there in DC.
Yeah.
So hold on, I had more than one of these pulled up. I must have logged out. But anyway, so Trump has declared that he is taking command. He's tired of the crime and the filth, the drugs, the homelessness being allowed in the country's capital.
Do you think that's because Chinese President Xi Jinping is on the way and he needs to clean things up real quick, or?
Well, he's not doing it.
That was Newsom. Sorry, not Trump. Go ahead.
Yeah.
San Francisco.
Yeah,
My bad.
That was San Francisco.
Yep. Okay.
I was going to say, because he's not doing it quietly. He's announcing it and saying, hey, this sucks. I want my legislators and my senators, and I want the people who live here to be able to walk around this city, which we spend an enormous amount of time in, and not have to worry about it. And it should be that way. Our capital of our nation should not be a crime-ridden cesspool. And so he has decided to take it upon himself to then relinquish the concept of law and order away from the local authorities and take it upon a federal authority. He's getting a lot of pushback from obviously the opposite side of things on that. But
well, and how bad do you feel as the DC chief of police? Like, one of the presidents, a guy that comes through every 4 to 8 years, guaranteed, hates the work you're doing here, by the way.
Yes.
Like, doesn't matter if it was an independent president or a Democrat or a Republican, that's got to burn a little bit. Like, you really suck at your job because the conditions here suck.
The DC chief of police is, and I beg of you to find me, and I just find it a very odd anomaly, like just on a mathematical level.
Mm-hmm.
Find me a major metropolitan city, whether it be Seattle, whether it be Atlanta, whether it be LA, whether it be Chicago, whether it be Baltimore, whether it be Minneapolis,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be give me any city in the country, and show me their chief of police, and I will show you a black woman. And it's bizarre. Like across the board, it mathematically does not equate. Just on statistics alone, it just doesn't make sense. But the DC police chief left completely dumbfounded when asked about the current chain of command following Trump's federal takeover. Her quote is, "What does that mean?"
Oh,
so
interesting.
The reporter asks, "Do you know what the chain of command is now?" Kind of trying to figure out like where Trump meets and where where he ends and they begin, as to like who's in charge of this cleanup and what's the chain of command. Do you know what the chain of command is? And she looks at that reporter confused and goes, "What does that mean?" Smith previously served as the police department's chief equity officer.
Okay, sure.
So yeah. It is bizarre. But he is apparently bound and determined to kind of work over Mayor Bowser, work over their chief of police, and designated Attorney General Bondi as his proxy to request services.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I always thought chain of command meant your report structure. Who's your commanding officer, and then who's theirs above them, and so on and so forth. So even at a guess, just at a glance, she could have said the mayor, and she would have been right, even if it wasn't like, I'm super confident about this. In her defense, I don't know if Washington, D.C. is a state. Is it a province? Is it an idea? Is it a dream? I don't know how that constituency bracket works, because it is not a state, but it's a city within the state that has different rules because of stuff. So
it is federal land within a province.
Maybe that means she doesn't have a boss. In her defense, I don't know. I would guess she probably fucking does, and probably should know who that is.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and just as a general, like, if you've been in law enforcement that long, you should know the basic day one, law enforcement etiquette 101, what the term chain of command means.
Maybe if there's a glossary of terms. I mean, shit, we had to look up a few things in the Gospel by Gen Z to figure it out. So maybe it's just a different language, but
fair enough. You're correct.
I think,
yeah.
I mean, has she been in the police force that long, or has she been an equity officer for the police for that long? Because who knows? Maybe she doesn't know any of these terms, or
I'm wondering,
she forgot about them because they're too aggressive, or maybe they're racially charged somehow. Chain of command. It sounds scary. It must be.
Well, she joined the Maryland Police Department because it's within the state of Maryland in 2022, and served as its chief equity officer. As chief equity officer, she led the department's efforts on DEI.
Okay.
Which I guess was the qualifier for making her the police chief of Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
She had a boss back then, which was the chief of police. And surely they talked about stuff coming down from the mayor's office, one would imagine. There is a mayor of Washington, D.C., no?
Yeah.
So one imagines that should be common knowledge, especially if you have an executive office within their staff. If it's the chief of insert name here, in her case, probably diversity, equity, and inclusion, or however they market that office. That's really bad to say to a reporter. No, you're right.
Yeah.
That was fucking stupid. Well, how do you not know that? I have no defense for this.
So to piggyback off of this, just to kind of put a pin in it, as
Yep.
far as like a bunch of the, fake news media,
Yeah.
CNN pundits who tend to lie about everything, and
Put a Pamela
this-
Bondi size pin in that for a second.
right,
Sure.
and then the obvious genius that we have in charge here of a police chief and the mayor,
Yeah.
they all are telling you that crime is down in Washington D.C. They don't
It's
understand
way down.
what this
That's
move
what they said.
is,
Yeah.
right? In the meantime, Justice Department official Harmeet Dillon, who is a genius lawyer, I've actually met her in Idaho, like at one of our Lincoln Day dinners. Got to go into the VIP room and actually hang out with her and her husband, and she was really cool. But she's a smart woman, and she is an incredible lawyer.
It's
And
a
she
sick
is
flex,
a
by the way.
lawyer.
Just went to the VIP room, no big deal.
But I didn't pay to get in there. We always
Oh,
get the secret invite. Me and Aaron.
Someone of
always,
your
like, they're
stature?
like-
No, they let you in.
yeah.
The
But
ropes you see are often velvet in nature, aren't they? I'm just kidding.
but she
It's
is
all that soap money.
I'm a soap magnate. But yeah, she's the assistant attorney general for the country. She's right under Pam Bondi. This woman is walking around in DC today, and she got accosted by a homeless person.
Nice.
Now, of course, she uses big words like malodorous. A malodorous homeless person attempted to swipe my phone today while I was walking in DC back to the DOJ from an appointment, but he was not in his right mind, and I artfully dodged the attempt.
Uh-huh.
It'll be a while till things feel safe in this city, so everyone stay alert. What serendipitous
Yeah.
situation where the person who's in charge of deploying the cleanup of that city in which she has to work in now
Yeah.
gets proven correct right after the whole clown car of people in front of her going, "What are you talking about? It's not that bad."
That's what I thought
And-
you were going to say is like during the press briefing about how crime was down, that somebody got shot or like they got robbed or something like that. You're like, oh my God, that's
Yeah.
even better. So yeah, the person that is going to be at the tip of the spear for the cleanup effort survives an attempted mugging on her way back to the office.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
So
Go America.
yeah, she's and
That's
like
insane. Was it a
the-
Russian
I
plant
think
though?
this is all yeah. This
He wasn't
is all
homeless.
based
He was
off of-
unhoused. And that's
he was a Russian agent. Yeah, he said this is MAGA country, and threw a
a
twine
noose around her
noose around
neck
her
and
neck,
had a
yeah.
MAGA hat on, and yeah.
right.
I love
but actually,
Mar-a-Lago
this
shirts and shit. It was the whole thing.
but this is actually the reasoning behind this is Trump got pretty upset when one of the Doge guys, one of the guys who is one of the major components for Doge,
Uh-huh.
he got beat up in the streets trying to defend a woman who was walking downtown, and it was, you've heard of the guy Big Balls that
Mhm.
works for Doge. It was him. Big Balls got beat up, and there's he got pretty messed up. He's like covered in blood and stuff, but it was because of that Trump's like, we're pulling in the National Guard, and we're actually going to start.
Oh, I'm sure that ruffled a few DC cops'
Oh, yeah.
feathers for that move right there, I bet.
Right, and especially and I do feel bad for some of the cops, like because their hands are being tied. It's hard to kind of imagine the position that they're in, where like they see all this crime going on around them, but they know that if they do anything about it, they're going to lose their job and their pension. It puts them in a position like, well, either I do the right thing and I quit and I have to go look for another job and feed my wife and kids and pay my mortgage, or they've got to be just wrestling with it every day. The fact that they don't actually get to do the job that they set out to do, which is stop crime. Instead of they're basically agents of the state that actually kind of hunt down non-criminals for not what shouldn't be crimes. And
I will feel empathetic and bad for them if they are able to answer one question. So if you were to make rounds through the department and ask simply, do you know what chain of command means? And if they're able to articulate that, they can stay. And I'm like, your job sucks. Because people want to defund you, and the criminals you do pick up are thrown right back out on the street because the prosecution won't take them to court and actually waste time on prosecuting criminals. So they just export them right back to the streets hours after they're picked up. It's a thankless job.
I actually had, during the hot part of like COVID and the George Floyd stuff, I had built a reconstruction of police reform that I think right now, while things are less, it's kind of lengthy. So maybe on the next segment, like I can actually do a segment on it. We should remind the folks that because right now, while things aren't contentious, while people's like while their temper isn't flared about some type of cop situation going on right now, it's actually better to talk about it during those times. But we forget because it's not a hot topic at the moment, so it gets put on the back burner. But if we kind of address the things in the calmer times with calmer heads, but I honestly I have a whole system built out where and some of it's controversial, but
I've amended and refined some of the points we discussed the last time we had this conversation too, and built off of what you have. Yeah.
So I think we should do a segment on that because I don't want a police state. I want police to be able to uphold their oath to the Constitution and be able to do that properly.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't think that there is I'm not an ACAB person. I think that there is a place for police. I think that law and order is necessary. But I also understand that that is a double-edged sword if you're not careful.
Yep.
And you have to be able to understand that with that type of power, you are constrained by the Constitution, and that the Constitution is also your guiding light, both of them at the same time. And I think that the way that a lot of law enforcement institutions are constructed are built on bad ground, and the ground needs to be it needs to be leveled and built back up properly, because now we have 150 years of legalized policing within this country. We need to re-examine the structure of it to fit what 360,000 people living within, or 360 million people living within the confines of this country, how it's supposed to be applied evenly across the board constitutionally. And I think that we've lost sight of that, and I think that there's a lot of good people who are stuck in the mill that is law enforcement work without, and they don't know how to properly do their job in that. And I think there's some pretty basic ways that we could fix the problem. And that aren't being explored anywhere.
I've got amendments to your building blocks around the pipeline for candidacy, around the qualifications and the test results one must have to possess a weapon while you're on duty, where you need to live, if depending on where you serve. I have some thoughts on the type of salary that you should make based on the state you're working in. I've got a lot of stuff to build on to the general framework since the last time we had this discussion. So I think it'd be a really worthy endeavor to maybe revisit some of that.
About that. Yeah.
Yep.
So
anyway,
I'd love to. I'm excited to see what happens in DC.
Yeah, what are they going to do with their chief of police now? Is she just kind of like, well, now it's a federal thing and I'm just going to disappear and we don't know?
Twiddle my thumbs.
Yeah.
Twiddle my thumbs over here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they're already in a comfortable state of failure all the time.
Sure.
So I don't really understand how this is any like they're just mad because it's Trump. That's all. They're mad because like if it was Obama coming in and saying the same thing, we're going to
They
clean up
would
the
welcome
city.
the federal support for a branch that desperately needs the attention from the federal government and the funding and all the help and the efforts, and they would happily put whoever they needed behind bars because finally we
100%.
get the resources that we've been needing, this time from the federal branches rather than our local economy. So thank you, President, not Donald Trump, whoever you may be. I'm sure that's how
Right.
that story would play out on CNN, probably.
And yeah, yeah, right. And then they would sit on their hands and play patty cake with each other until the dust settled.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, of course, they're going to push back and actually kind of justify crime and justify people being hurt and justify all of the insane stuff that happens in metropolitan areas just to defy what they consider a worse evil, which is like anti-crime, which is safety, which is no drugs and all of that kind of stuff. Sure, like make it make sense. Try to get the math to work, square that circle. However you want to phrase it. They're just going to be nonsensical, and of course, CNN struggling with its integrity, blaming platforms, will jump right on board and champion the mayor of DC and their police chief and say that Trump is somehow wrong in this particular case and that he is being a dictator by cleaning up the streets.
Yeah.
But, okay.
I was looking
all
up,
right.
I thought Crenshaw had something to say about that today. I was like, I just saw something about this. It wasn't. It was about the Democrat whistleblower that told the FBI that Adam Schiff was okaying leaking certain classified intel to hurt Trump in the 2016 stuff. So,
Yeah.
Narratives, predictable narratives for 100, Alex. DC. Well, there you go. And all it took San Francisco was a visit from the Chinese president. So
Right.
I think it's time for Conspiracy Corner.
Oh, all right.
That's what
Let's
I think.
do it. Let's switch some gears.
For those of you
And
that
make
are
sure
not
that-
watching our show and just listening, you really should give us a spin live on YouTube because we have artfully crafted some really sick tinfoil hats. Now, this segment comes with a bit of a preface. We're not held responsible for any of the stuff that we say right now while we're wearing these tinfoil hats because we're in conspiracy mode. So either we buy in or we're selling off all of our stock in whatever it is we're talking about. It's Conspiracy Corner, man. Take it away.
Conspiracy Corner this week, we have decided, because we brought it up last week briefly, but I really wanted to kind of explore this concept that is coming out of a lot of different, conspiracy corners on the internet, where a lot of the people who are really into the alien communities and the UFO community stuff are chattering about, because there is a gigantic object that they have spotted out in the cosmos.
Ah, yes.
The powers that be, NASA, and different, institution of learning that they believe is about the size of Manhattan, but does not seem to have many of the characteristics of a comet. It is just an object, and it is not moving at the pace of a comet, and it does not seem to have the tail of a comet. So they are watching it intently, and Harvard scientists believe interstellar comet could be an alien craft.
Here we
should
go.
put
Sure.
all possibilities on the table.
Okay.
So the object they are naming 31 Atlas.
Yep.
And they're calling it right now a comet because they don't really know what else to call it.
So Atlas, really quick, is Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System. So this
Okay.
is Object 31, and it is from this atlas, which is the Impact Last Alert System Survey. Holy shit. So
Okay.
it's the folks that look for stuff that might collide with Earth. That seems to be their job. Just throwing that out there. So it's Atlas 31. Go ahead.
So yeah, so a lot of different professors from a lot of different colleges are looking at this object, and they're saying that somewhere by the end of October, it will be the closest to the sun, but it will pass between, I think they said, Mars and Earth.
Correct.
And be closest to the sun, which is the closest most objects that aren't in collision course has been in a long time, if ever recorded. I don't know.
That was my looking at the diagram. That was my gut reaction. Was like, well, there's only 4 terrestrial planets, and they're the first 4 closest to the sun, right? The rest are gaseous in nature,
Yeah.
and this one's singing right between number 4 and number 3. Clearly, our planet is number 3. That's pretty impressive for an object to just go singing through those orbital patterns as close as they will, and then a further refinement says there'll be a period of time, I guess, between, October and December where it's so close to the sun we won't be able to see it anymore. Until after that, we'll be able to pick it up again. But that is pretty close, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you've got, of course, all the alien nuts like jumping all over this. Like this is it. And there's whisperings around, government officials talking about this, but nothing seems to be sparking any concern.
Yeah.
As of yet. However, the gentleman that goes by the name Jeremy Corbell, and Jeremy Corbell is infamous all over the UFO community. He's done many documentaries with Bob Lazar and a bunch of other of the.
He's been on Rogan a bunch of times. He's done all kinds of stuff. Yeah,
absolutely. So he is. There's a video going around, which is what really sparked me to this, is that I just saw it in passing, that he was sitting in a chair in the middle of a room doing a recording for some video that he was, I don't even know what the video was for, but it's him sitting in the middle of a room basically saying that he has seen some documents that he predicted this situation with this particular anomaly, Object 31, and that they're going to create a stir. The governments of the world are going to create a stir around this to cause a distraction from something else that's going on. And it's a big lie that they are going to use this as a way to possibly bamboozle the world with probably in conjunction with a Project Bluebeam kind of situation. But they really want to use it as a distraction piece for something much, much bigger that is actually happening terrestrially here on Earth. And he made a prediction about this about 6 months ago.
Interesting.
And so people are all looking to him. Now, take him or leave him. I come from a biblical worldview, obviously, as I constantly say on this show. So I don't even believe in aliens at all, or spacecraft. And some, a lot of folks do. I find it very fascinating. I love watching it. But in this particular case, he is kind of a controversial figure even within their own community.
Yeah.
And so he, I don't take anything this guy says at all for gospel, and in a literal sense and in a figurative sense. But he is not. He seems to be an earnest guy who gets led by his nose a lot in a lot of different areas of life that he really, really just wants to believe.
Yeah.
So anything that comes his way, he's already kind of preconditioned to lean in that direction. And he's a walking, talking, real life Fox Mulder who doesn't actually have a badge, but he's an interesting figure. But He did kind of say that this thing was coming, but do you have any information on this?
Yeah, a couple pieces that'll come from NASA. My thoughts on Jeremy Corbell was you exactly nailed what I was going to say. Is like he seems like he's very like, you know, here's what they're saying and he's all excited about it, but he earnestly truly wants nothing more than to believe that this is actually true. Like on any thread of existence kind of deal where he's just relentlessly optimistic. Like he's Johnny Meanswell. Like, I just, you know, everything's always like, let's get the most information out, but it's kind of unbelievable at its core always. And that's what makes him a little bit of an unreliable figure. What I looked up on this was simply the science.nasa.gov. So while I'm wearing the tinfoil hat today, I'll be trusting the science. NASA funded the Atlas program here. It's a survey telescope in Rio Hurtado, Chile that first picked this thing up July 1, right? Then we get the hypothesis about how close it'll be and where it's going to go. The interstellar comet size and physical properties are being investigated by astronomers around the world. 31/Atlas should remain visible to ground-based telescopes through September 2025, after which it will pass too close to the sun to observe and then reappear by early December of the same year, allowing for renewed observations. They have a short video that I'm not going to watch about how the comet got its name, but they are referring to it as a comet, even though in print it says the object. I don't know that they have another word for it. So as they use descriptors, they split between object in print and then the comet, because I think everything that moves is classified as a comet unless they can justify it being a planet or whatever they call a non-planet that's about planet size, whatever they turn Pluto into essentially. Anyway, they're trying to figure out the Hubble telescope's observations of it because it's far enough out there to catch this thing, I guess, a little bit. The upper limit on the diameter is around 3.5 miles, though. They stipulate it could be as small as 1,000 feet across, but the diameter is 3.5 miles, and it's maybe 1,000 feet wide, so to speak. So kind of weird. They have a bunch of frequently asked questions. Where did it come from? They're like, we don't know, but it's definitely another star system, and it was ejected from
the space version of Cotton Eye Joe.
Exactly.
Where did it come from? Where did it go?
Yeah.
Where did it go?
Yeah, and that should be their theme song, I think.
Yeah. NASA should just have that on loop.
Oh yeah,
on their website. Yep.
Totally. It formed in another star system and was somehow ejected into interstellar space. Great, super confidence inspiring answer. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Observations. How is this determined that 31 Atlas didn't originate in our solar system? Well, observations of the trajectory show that it's moving too fast to be bound by the sun's gravity, and that it's on what's known as a hyperbolic trajectory. In other words, it doesn't follow a closed orbital path around the sun. It is simply passing through our solar system and will continue on its journey out into other interstellar space, never to be seen again. I mean, cool. How many interstellar objects have been discovered? This is number 3. This is the third known interstellar object to have been observed. I'm not even going to... I will try this one. Oumuamua was discovered in 2017. And the second one...
Black Knight?
Yeah, the second one was 21/Borisov. This one is 31/Atlas. So anyway, that was discovered in 2019. How big is it? And is it an asteroid or a comet? Astronomers don't yet know how big 31 Atlas is, but from observations they can see that it's active, which means that it has an icy nucleus, and a coma, which is a bright cloud of gas and dust surrounding a comet as it approaches the sun. This is why astronomers categorize it as a comet and not an asteroid for now. How fast is it moving? Love this answer. Very fast. Yeah.
Super fast.
Sick.
Like
if it was not in our solar system, and then it was, we saw it in July, and by December it's going to be on the other side of the sun. She's moving.
It has its race car Velcro shoes on.
She's moving.
Yeah.
When it was discovered, the comet was traveling at about 137,000 miles per hour. or 61 kilometers per second, and its speed will increase as it approaches the sun. So leave those turbo kits at home. You should buy comet-powered things instead. Is there a danger in this thing hitting Earth? No. Although the trajectory of the object brings it to the inner solar system and pretty close by the diagram. I mean, when you look at like the planets and the sun, it's like kind of cuts Mars, and Earth is like up here, Mars is like down here in their orbital rotations, and it just slices right through that thing like a golf ball. It won't come close to Earth. 31 Atlas journeys through the solar system. It won't come any closer than about 150 million miles to our planet, but we should be able to see it. And that's pretty much all the FAQs they have. I love that. Where did it come from? Not here. How did it originate? Something shot it into space. How fast is it moving? Very. Like these are things I would expect from you and I, not from NASA.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Apparently we could write for NASA though. That's fucking fast. Sweet.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
like, I think we're probably going to get a bunch of people that are going to heat up the conversation the closer it makes it into the, the public sphere. Oh, now we can see it. And what does it look like? And, is it a disc? It's sure shaped like one. How is it moving that fast? How did it get here? We can't really catch this thing with a catcher's mitt and dissect it. There's no known propulsion system on the planet, I think, that could intercept it in time to drill into it for a sample. I think it's a weird rock that's hauling ass through space that we'll get to see in our lifetime pass by shortly before the holidays. That's all I think it is, personally. Well, while the tinfoil hat's on, happy to be wrong. But to your point about, Jeremy's prediction, so to speak, yeah, anytime there's mass movement with hysteria around a big event, worldwide event, that's the appropriate time to do some nefarious shit off in the corner. So I almost think it would be a byproduct of this phenomenon, except you can set your calendar by it this time. But I don't think it's an alien. Sorry, Jeremy.
My theory is quite different.
Yeah.
So my theory is that it is a predictor, that is a Manhattan-sized bug poop that is hurtling towards Buenos Aires because that we are in Starship Troopers, and that was actually a predictive model book by Heinlein. And that we are about to get splattered by giant beetle dung, and
start the
intergalactic war. So that's where we're at.
In case I'm wrong, buy some small arms weapons. Stock your house. He could be right. It could be the first of a bug invasion. We'll have to lean into the real authorities, steer away from Jeremy Corbell and closer toward Casper Van Dien to give us some guidance on what he saw. You could be right.
Kill them all. Yeah. So, and which will then lead the government into citizenship by way of service.
Yeah.
So you will not be able to be a citizen unless you have provided service in one way or another, which then grants you the ability to garner further education or get a license to have children and thus forth. So I don't know. I guess I welcome the big poop, and let's see what happens from there. Until
their shit breaks down in our solar system, and then we have a whole District 9 type of thing happening because they can't move.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, or whatever. So that's been Conspiracy Corner.
All right. Yep. All right, back to reality.
That's a good one. I'm gonna love the tinfoil hat when it's not in the summertime.
Right?
It is so hot. You put that on, it's like my head becomes a baked potato.
We're actually creeping on 100 here for a little bit, so like it's been warming up here. But that's like a cool breeze to you guys. So
yeah, that's 9 a.m. Yeah, it's I'm glad it wasn't as long and drawn out as last summer. Last summer was really savage, but at all the expected times for it to get hot, it did not disappoint, and we're still in the dog days for sure. What do you got? You watched a movie. We're down to movie reviews
Yeah.
here. You saw something in the theater. I saw a preview for it. Didn't look like it was something I'd watch, but walk us
It
through
is
it.
not. Um, it isn't something that you would watch, and it's only because of the fact that there is multiple jump scares and there's a couple hyper gory scenes. But outside of that, the rest of the movie I think you would actually find fairly interesting and is not necessarily a horror. Now, I went into this completely had only seen the trailer, and the trailer it does not tell it does not convey this properly. And we went as a family, like the kids, Aaron, and their significant others. So there were 6 of us that all went, and we went last night and watched it. And it's because it came onto my. By the way, we're talking about the movie that just came out called Weapons.
Weapons, yeah.
And it's by the same director as the guy who did Barbarian, which I think I reviewed early on a couple years ago. But
so probably spoilers if you haven't seen it, but either way.
Not necessarily. I don't think I have to give away spoilers for this movie. We left the movie theater having enjoyed our time, but were very confused because it felt like 5 different movie genres jammed together into a slow burn of something that turned into nothing what we thought it was going to be.
Interesting.
And it was disconjointed intentionally, much like a Pulp Fiction or a in fact it was designed because he was such a fan of the movie. The director was such a fan of the movie Magnolia with Tom Cruise and the big cast of have you ever seen Magnolia?
I like that movie.
Right. And so this was very Magnolia-esque as far as the pacing and the storytelling of how it all merges together for one storyline. And it's set in a small town of Nowheresville, USA, Midwest somewhere, with a teacher who's played by Julia Garner, who just was playing the Silver Surfer in the Fantastic Four movie. But I know her from the Ozark TV series, which I love, and she plays a Spitfire part criminal in that, and she does great. But she plays a school teacher, single lady, and one night at 2:17 in the morning, 17 of the 18 children from her class leave the house, and it's all caught on web cameras and Ring cameras, and they all go running out of the house. They're a bunch of 8-year-olds, third graders, with their arms behind their back, running like Naruto, and running off into the dark of night and never to be seen again. And of course, the town is all up in arms. Like, why was it only 17 to the 18? How come that kid didn't get taken? What did she do?
Was he on the marijuana cigarettes, or what happened?
Right. So there's so many questions, and one of the fathers, who's played by Josh Brolin,
okay,
also known as Thanos, and Alden Ehrenreich, who plays Paul the cop. He also played Han Solo in the newer Han Solo movie.
Yeah.
That guy. So he's in it, and it's got Benedict Wong from also Marvel, who played Wong.
I like Benedict Wong.
Yep. And a bunch of other cool character actors. It was the return of Amy Madigan, who I hadn't seen in a movie in a while. She played the wife in the baseball classic. Is it What Dream? Not What Dreams May Come. Field of Dreams.
Sure, haven't seen it.
Yeah. And it was intriguing. It was very intriguing. I kept kind of pausing during the middle of the film, going, "Wait a minute! we're way off track. Why are we even following these characters?
Sure.
Like, none of this matters. What's going on with the kids?
Yeah.
And that was intentional. They wanted you to kind of have that anxiety of like getting off track and then bumping you right back into
Oh,
track.
This
And
is like an Obama
and-
policy. What page are we on? Right.
yeah, right. So it was wonderfully acted. The special effects were great. But what I did not expect, what none of us expected, was how funny it was.
Mm.
You don't get that from the trailers. You don't get the fact that it is a dark comedy, and it has some really shocking parts. It has some really funny parts. It has some really gross parts. It has a lot of craziness that you don't really expect. You don't know where this thing is going to take you, why it's called Weapons, where the children went. All of it gets explained in the end, kind of, but not super thorough. And and it was unique, unlike anything I've seen from this genre, which is psychological horror, mystery horror kind of stuff, right? So and you just didn't know where this movie was taking you. You didn't know where the characters were going. You didn't know like how it was going to turn out in the end, or who the bad guy was or wasn't.
Yeah.
You had no idea, and they did a really good job of kind of stringing you along, and then giving you a fairly different, but I mean, like, I did not see the ending being the way it was going to go, but it was actually really good. We all enjoyed it. We all came away, even like the kids' significant others, who we are kind of force feeding cinema to both of them. They were both like, one of them didn't actually get to see a lot of movies, and like her mom thought Happy Feet was like a little too risque.
Really?
And then the other one,
Wait till they get to Jurassic Park.
we just watched that last night too, and she had never seen it.
First one, right?
But yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I think maybe she had, because she's a big fan of the Jurassic Park world. But her other thing is Avatar. Like, every time the third movie's about to come out, she's like super excited for that. I have to watch the second one so that I can go see the third one and not feel out of place. But
I wouldn't. I would just go skip number 2. I've never seen it either, but I'm just saying, skip number 2 and go into number 3 with an open heart and just be like, wow, none of this makes sense. Thanks, Ridley.
But yeah, it's the other one. He actually was just such an outdoor kid that he never saw any movies. And of course, my daughter, being the absolute cinephile that she is, like, it's just like shoving movies down this poor guy's throat. And he's like, I just love you so much. I'll just watch any movie that you put in front of me. So we keep taking him to weird stuff.
Nice.
They went and saw a horror movie the other night, called like Together, and it's like this creepy movie where there's a ritual that the husband and wife get like flesh merged together and stuff like that, and he's like freaking out and my daughter's like, oh, this is fascinating, but he's not used to that kind of stuff.
2 things. One,
she just threw him in the deep end.
We got to do a classic movie review with your daughter at one point, just to like tear into it, full segments, all that, do some homework ahead of time. Second, we should expose her boyfriend to like really bad movies and be really into it, like, no, we're watching a movie called The Room, and then after that you take him to something, like bring something else and like, oh, this is a classic, it's the Cube 2, and like, what, like, just all this trash, but be like,
make him
full
think
popcorn ready, like, and like, what is this, and be like, just fucking with you, man, these are bad.
Yeah. I the poor guy, I made him sit through Willow the other night.
Oh no, the new one?
I was like, no, the old one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
That's
I made
where
him sit
pecked.
like, the original 87 Willow. And I think that it's a great movie, and I think that there's, but I do have a lot of like sentimental attachment to it.
Yeah.
And after we got done, I was like, "So what'd you think?" He goes, "That was long." that was his response. I was like, "I guess you're right. I guess it had a healthy runtime."
All right. It was like, well, buckle up. Red Sonja's next. You know,
Yeah.
like we're gonna go through Conan and Barbarella and all the fucking classics.
all of the dark fantasy
Yeah.
from the 80s era of television or of movie cinema. So yeah. But yeah, so as of weapons, I actually had a hard time kind of wrapping my head around it for the, I had to think about it a lot, which is a good sign if you have to think about a movie. And but it provided all of us with each of us took something different from it.
Sure.
And we all really enjoyed it. I think it accomplished what it needed to accomplish as far as cinema goes. It may not be for everybody, but for our weird family, we all very much liked it. So I would give it probably 7.5 megs to the end.
There you go.
So
trending upward.
Yeah.
I like it.
So not too bad. One thing I am looking forward to that I will be hopefully reviewing in the near future, I think it might take a little while, is there's a new television series coming out called Alien Earth.
It's out now on Hulu and Disney Plus.
I'll be watching them because the first 2 episodes come out and then they come out weekly.
I want to watch it so bad because I know Timothy Oliphant is in it, and I know he plays one of the robot people, like Michael Fassbender did in the movie. Like Oliphant, what are those guys called? Synthetic, I guess. I also know that there are threads that make that universe the same extended universe would also belong to what was the Harrison Ford movie that they redid with Ryan Gosling? Blade Runner. They're all in the same universe together.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating to me because I love the Blade Runner side. I can't get behind the terror factor of some of the Alien movies, which I've seen a bunch of. And I've also seen a bunch of the Predator movies as well. But it's that like, part that I know it's going to be full of it. And it's going to have 2025 graphics behind it. And it's going to be the most intense. Like you can taste the brain matter and shit. And I'm like, that's the part that I'm not looking forward to. But like the theater of it, I'm like probably not going to watch it, but I really want to because I enjoy the story. I like the lore. I understand way more than I should about that whole universe and how it ties in and all that stuff. But like, I got some pointers from a homie of mine, Chris, that lives down where I do. That's like, you're not going to like Alien Romulus. Like, it's not for you, bud. Like, if you can't handle that stuff, and I'm like, all right, if you're going to say that, as well as my brother and several other people, I'm out. But it looks like a really cool concept, and I've seen the trailers for it, and I don't like the jump scary parts. So after I change my pants and stuff. But yeah, I'd love for you to review that. Let me know what you think about it because it's supposed to be sick, and I love Timothy Oliphant as well. So if he's in it at all, I'm going to be stoked. But
that contributing factor of Timothy Oliphant will actually get my wife on board because she's
a big fan.
Hollywood, she's a big fan.
He's too hot, man. That guy. He's so cool.
He's charming and cool.
Yeah.
She's had a thing for him since that like 1999 movie Go, where he played a drug dealer, and ever since then, if that guy touches screen, she's just like, oh, I'm interested in this completely abstract film that I have no other interest in other than the fact that Timothy Oliphant's a part of it. So
he's built different. Yeah.
He is. And I like him too.
Man.
So
well, let me know how it goes. I watched an unbelievable mess. I watched 1994's Time Cop with Jean-Claude Van Damme. It is one of the Jean-Claude Van Damme movies I hadn't seen yet. I believe I have seen everything he's ever done at this point until Time Cop.
Serious?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's one of the ones that I've always missed.
You're like a Jean-Claude super fan, and you never saw Time Cop?
I didn't know, and it's typically I'll see it, and it's one of those, I'll get to that. you know, because there's always right next to it, you may also like, and then you give me Bloodsport, and I'm just fucking in. Like, yep,
fair. That's
Kumite,
fair. Yeah.
baby, whatever you need. Like,
hard
Bloodsport,
target with the doves and the mullet.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So
but Kumite every day.
yeah,
Like,
so
yeah.
we get to Time Cop this week. I have to imagine, dude, that the craft service table was just small mountains of cocaine, like on these little dishes that were back there. This makes no sense at all. Like they find the like late 80s, early 90s super hot chick Mia Sara, and then try to make her like dress normally, where she's like the believable suburban housewife type of thing, but she's like stunning type of stuff. They have some weird dialogue that kind of doesn't make sense, that you're like, okay, cool. So these guys are supposed to be married. And then it jumps into an egregious over the top sex scene where we see way too much of Jean-Claude Van Damme's butt. We're basically led to believe, as far as they thought through the science on this one.
I'm more familiar with Jean-Claude's butt than my own.
Right?
Like I've seen, Like
didn't realize there was so much of that.
More
but
than mine.
When you start to catalog it, you're like, yeah, I know those cheeks. I've seen those cheeks a lot. Nice tan. Yeah, like the as close as I got to the scientific thought process around this was like, you could encounter yourself in the past and you could have a conversation with yourself. But if you touched yourself and occupied the same matter in the same physical space, like some unknown catastrophe, which would happen, which in 1994's movie graphics was poor when you get to see that in real time. This movie makes no sense at all. Like the storyline doubles down on itself backwards twice. We get Gloria Rubin's character, who's like the up and coming field agent on her first mission with the hardened Jean-Claude Van Damme character. And then they go back in time and she turns out to be a betrayer, but is she really a good person after all? Like we skip a whole bunch of plot in the middle of nowhere. It's obvious they're coked out of their minds with some of this stuff. We do get two very explosive, I get to do the splits moves from Jean-Claude Van Damme, and that powerful, like slow motion top camera angle follow turnaround roundhouse kick thing, which is always a treat. I loved every second of this pile of shit on film, because you get mullets, you get karate stuff. We have time travel involved. We have bad guys with mullets and shaved sides, and they smoke, so you know they're bad guys. We get it all.
And it's Ron Silver too. Ron Silver was like one of the key villains in this era of movies. But one of the things that
Bruce McGill's in this movie too, which I like Bruce McGill.
Yeah. But the story, it gives you kind of a synopsis of the storyline. But then it's got like clickable on IMDb, clickable things that are related to this movie. And the first one is female full frontal nudity.
Yeah.
Then followed by time travel.
Yeah.
Like that's the
order of priorities for the modus operandi on that film crew was, they have articulated that well in the clickable moments from IMDb.
Right. Cult film followed by that, and then based on comic, husband and wife relationship is next. And then 193 more.
The other clip. Yeah, like every one of those loose threads, you could probably parallel see the point they're trying to make. It wasn't the focal point at all. Stuff happens. It's a tight, I want to say like 93, 94 minutes of mullets, muscles, bad guys, roundhouses, doing the splits, unbelievable plot lines, and it earns a solid 7 megs. And there is no point to this film at all. This had to be the height of Jean-Claude Van Damme's like pretty widely known off the screen drug issues, because he was consuming like pounds of coke a week kind of thing. I'm sure we're at the peak of that during this film. Excellent movie.
Where he's just sucking the skin onto his cheekbones like throughout the whole film.
Yep. Like he's even mumbles, and they're not like, you know, hey, Jean-Claude, maybe we could do another take of that. They're just like, wrap it. That's the one. And like some of the dialogue, you're like, what did he say? Like, it's one of those moments where like you put subtitles on and they don't even know. There's like, I don't fucking know. It like gives you like, question mark. And you're like, you know, ... Like, oh, I don't know. It's great. It makes no sense. It's not a good movie. It has all the right ingredients that I love for a film of that era.
Oh, yeah.
It's over and done with kind of before you realize it. And everyone wins in the end, as does most Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, more or less. And Time Cop, 7 megs.
Awesome. Yeah. The 80s had such a distinct flair to their movies, but they were kind of segmented between like 1980 and 1983, and then 84 through 87, and then 87 through 89. You could distinctly tell each one of those eras of the 80s cinema.
Yeah.
But the 80s were really great. However, there was nothing off the table, and nothing stopped 90s cinema. And it was just a smorgasbord of crazy ideas, tons and tons of drugs, and like weird concepts, and like over the top like action heroes.
These guys, you got to remember, man, like Stallone was kind of early on, and then Schwarzenegger kind of takes the belt there for a minute. And then all of a sudden by the 90s, like here comes Steven Seagal for reasons that remain unclear. And the differentiation that I love to death is there's not a Steven Seagal movie that you can find where he takes a hit. Jean-Claude Van Damme gets his ass beat in this movie twice. And like, he's like the rising phoenix from the ashes kind of thing. And so basically when you could put an action star on, you know, above the letterbox, you're printing money, and they clearly were with a lot of this stuff. But by the 90s, like when this one comes out, like Schwarzenegger's kind of doing weird shit like Collateral Damage and The Eraser, and like he's kind of like past his prime, but he sells movies. But they're like, Terminator is way back here, dude. Like, what do we do with this guy? And his choices kept getting weirder, or at least the development of the film was. Similar with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Eventually, like Seagal has a short run there that's laughable, and I would love to tear into Seagal next, but by the mid to late 90s, we kind of got into those like weird thinker types of films. You start to see like, who's our guy that did Interstellar? He comes out with Memento way early on. Christopher Nolan. Nolan's doing some interesting films. And then by the late 90s, you get like Star Wars is being born again with the new, you know, the episodes 1, 2, and 3. The Matrix is out there. 99 is a phenomenal movie year. I think it's the best one of all time.
It's actually arguably, and anybody in, like, I was just talking to somebody who at our church picnic who worked as a producer in Hollywood for years and years and years. And he just struck up a conversation because we were at the church picnic and we'd never met. And I asked him what he did, and of course it led into a conversation, and he was actually blown away that I knew as much about cinema as I did, and the background workings of things.
Bring him on the pod.
Yeah. And then but that when I brought up that 1999 is arguably in any cinephile, and most critics and most experts understand that there was never a year before or after 1999 that produced more bangers than that year. That year was just, it's one after the other. If you look into the movies that came out in 1999, it is insane. And that was the end of the cinematic era, where then things started kind of churning, like grinding down, and then churning out remakes, rehashes, losing the integrity of cinema. And sure, you had pockets of it here and there, but it wasn't the juggernaut that the 90s led up into what became the pinnacle of cinema, which was 1999.
Since for the purposes of the entertainment section of the pod, I know you know most of this, but I'm looking at a Google list of just popular 1999, and then there's some top picks. We have Talented Mr. Ripley, Eyes Wide Shut, The Trench, Varsity Blues, 13th Floor, Girl Interrupted, The Messenger was actually pretty big. There's a bunch of SNL films, like Superstar was that year and stuff. Magnolia comes out that year. The Green Mile comes out that year. The Virgin Suicides comes out that year. Cherry Falls, General's Daughter, Entrapment, Random Hearts, Simply Irresistible, The Matrix, The Ninth Gate. I think I'm not going to keep clicking, but I'm pretty sure Fight Club comes out that year. Like there's
It does. Yep.
there are so many good movies from that year. The Mummy, that well, good, and also like blockbusters and stuff like that too. Because I'm not a huge
Right.
Mummy fan, although it has more than a cult following. It just hitter after hitter after hitter comes out that year. So yeah,
Yep.
the Star Wars Phantom Menace, like it just goes on and on. But yeah, in the early 90s, like 1994 is sort of that weird falling off point from like the old 80s, early 90s action superstars that are like in their coke fueled burning out of their
Right.
heyday moments. And you're like, what even is this plot line? So like that period of time, that little slice of the early mid 90s, I'm enjoying kind of day tripping through with some of these movies. But yeah, Time
You get,
Cop I
like,
finally
little-
can check off the list, man. It was wonderfully bad, and I'm a huge fan of
Awesome.
it.
That was actually the era where like you started seeing where the big action stars of the big five, you know, you
Mhm.
had Seagal and Van Damme and Schwarzenegger and all the, you know, all the big guys. But right at that pocket, 95 to 96 is when you started seeing like weird indie movies that had kind of big names, mainly like Keanu Reeves and like Johnny Mnemonic,
Yeah.
and like those kind of weird
Yep.
things where they were like, we need to rebrand
Yeah.
movies in the action genre, because we can only put these muscle guys it's in so much
Yeah,
stuff.
fuck, dude.
before
Bruce
we-
Willis, right? Like, you want to talk
Yeah.
about betting the odds on a dude that was not the prototypical body that you see in those 90s action movies. And then he does Die Hard and then a series of other films where he's kind of like the rough and tumble action hero guy, but he's like not the prototype from that early moment. Yeah, that's a great observation because you're right. That's like the
Yeah.
birth of Keanu, Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
There's a ton of dudes in there.
Yeah, but it was
Yeah.
a transition period for cinema, and they were experimenting a lot with it because they didn't really know
Yeah.
what the next generation of cinema was supposed to look like, and so they played around, and I think a lot of weird gems came out of that mid '90s section because of that, and so
Yeah.
but yeah.
One of the Tom Cruise films I have not seen yet as well is a film called Valkyrie. And that's next on my list. It's where he plays like a Nazi general that plots to kill
Yeah.
Hitler or something. And I haven't seen that one either. I'm sure it's going to be
Yeah, based off a true
Tom-tastic.
story. Yeah, Tom-tastic. He will run at full speed, head up in some
He
capacity
has to. Like, I
Yeah.
know that's a Mission Impossible
down
thing,
a
but that's
hallway.
kind of a Tom Cruise thing. Because I
Yeah,
watched Oblivion, I think it was called.
Yep.
And he does the
And
same
then-
thing, just full twice, I think. It's incredible.
Minority Report. He
Yep.
does it in. He does it in.
I
what's
like
the
that
other one?
movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. The Edge of Tomorrow. He does it
Yeah.
in. Like there's like I'm pretty sure he's contractually obligated. I think he even does it in. What's the
Well, the
one
newest,
that-
the Top Gun Maverick, he does it as well.
Right, but I'm talking about like Jerry Maguire. I think he does it in Jerry Maguire.
Sure.
You know, like it doesn't even have to be an action movie, and they figure out a way for him to like run through an airport at full speed, or you know, something to that effect. But
I think he makes
Yeah.
a cameo in Tropic Thunder at the end as like where he does some weird dance and he's just an asshole on a telephone, like he's some big. Is that the right
Yeah.
one where he comes in at the end? I
Yeah.
don't think he runs
Mhm.
in that one. That's not a Tom Cruise film. That's a cameo, so maybe it's not. But yeah,
Right.
so he might have done it in Vanilla Sky too. I don't know if he does in Eyes Wide. He
did.
does in Eyes Wide Shut.
yeah, I did it in Vanilla Sky too.
He did it in Vanilla Sky. Does he do it in Magnolia?
I think so. I think there's a scene with him running, but also like War of the Worlds.
Yeah, War of the Worlds for sure.
Yeah, like I think there's just a contractual obligation. that there has
Nobody
to
in
be-
cinema history runs like Tom Cruise, and
Right.
will probably ever beat that streak. Because
Yeah.
Few Good Men, I think he has a running scene into. He might be exercising and it's raining or something when they're doing the case evaluation before pretrial. I'm sure he has a running scene in that as well.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And Tom Hanks, I think has and it's not in everything, but there's an enormous amount of his body of work where there's a scene where he's peeing in it. Like almost every movie, he's peeing, from League of Their Own to The Green Mile to Big to like every movie he's
Beautiful.
been in. Like there's a scene where he's like has a funny peeing scene, and so it's I don't know what that's about, but people need to look at Tom Hanks' internet history.
Yeah.
Um,
Tom Hanks taking a
Yeah.
piss. Well, we're gonna end an era tonight, man.
is it the last
It's
one?
the last one, my friend.
Oh,
It
I
is
don't
chapter
know.
50 of 50 in the Gospel by Gen Z. We have had a hell of a run. I think it's gone over a year for sure. I'm not sure we hit 2. We are looking at L'Ascension in 1879 by Gustave Doré. Another beautiful
oh yeah.
print here
That-
from.
That artist
Some
was
cool
actually really known for woodblock prints.
There you
I've
go.
actually replicated a lot of Gustave Doré's
You've tattooed a lot of his work.
and yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, I don't know if this is a 2-pager. No, it is not. Short and sweet. Chapter 50, the Ascension, folks. After this, Peter
Yeah.
went fishing with some of his bros, but all night the fish had been swerving. Early in the AM, Jesus said, "Broskies, fish on the right side." So they said bet and caught 153 fish squared, all in 4K. After breakfast, Holy Bro said to Peter, "Do you stand me?" He said, "Bro, you know you rizzed up my soul." Jesus replied, "Be a real one to your bros." And then again, Jesus asked, "Have you caught holy feelings for me?" He said, "Bro, you know my soul's feeling some type of way about you." Jesus replied, "Come in clutch for your bros." And the third time Jesus asked Peter, "Have I pulled your heart?" And Peter said, "Bruh, you know you have cuffed my heart." Jesus replied, "You must walk so they can run." Now, before Holy Bro went home with his eternal fam, he pulled up to his 11 best friends and breathed on them, saying, "Receive the sacred vibe. Whatever L's you cancel, I also cancel. But whatever receipts you keep, I also keep." And then he told them, "Go forth and gain followers for my page, making sure to pin my teachings for all to see. And trust, I'm not ghosting you, nor will I ever leave you on red." Then with arms raised in a blessing, he Juba slid up into heaven where he gave the holy dub to his father. It was the biggest I'm Him performance of all time. Thus, Holy Bro secured power to help us catch W's and swerve L's forevermore. That's
best
it.
investment
That's
I
it.
think you've ever made, sir.
This
I'm-
this has to live
Mar-
on somewhere else, and I don't know where yet, but this will be gifted to someone at some point on some day. But this has
Yeah.
been absolutely excellent. So thanks at Gen Z Bible Stories, an account that used to post funny shit like this all the time that was later convinced to put it into a book. I bought it on pre-order as soon as I found out that that was coming to print, and I have the hardback. So what a find, and what a legacy for our podcast, man.
Absolutely. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, like, it started off as kind of a joke, but like honestly, I think I got way more edification out of it than I ever imagined I would. And it actually, I'm sad and I'm brokenhearted that we don't get more out of it, but uh, uh, I'm so glad that that was such a major part of our podcast for so long.
Yeah.
And that it was a component that I looked forward to every week. And it made me laugh, but it really made me actually think about how to apply biblical teaching to different people. And I learned a new language along the way.
Yeah.
There was a lot to this that I think you're right. It was a legacy that I'm glad that we applied to the podcast. It was a beautiful segment, and I'm
Well-
very happy to have had it.
In a fit of turnabout surprises, we have Gen Z Quran stories coming up. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
No, we're gonna find a lighthearted way to end the pod going forward. We have some ideas brewing, which I think will be pretty fun. At least thought
Yes.
provokers to end the show. So Yeah,
Mhm.
Gospel by Gen Z, good find. I'm stoked. I'm glad we made
Yeah.
it through. I was tickled to do it. I think that was one of my best internet finds. So,
Yeah, for sure. But yeah.
oh,
Well,
Paul Osby says I looked forward to the language lessons every week. Yeah, we did too. Some of that stuff was like concerning as all hell. Where you're like, what does this mean? I still
I
look
feel
some
like
stuff up. It comes with a
I feel like
glossary of
it's
terms in the back though, which is great. So
I feel like a spy at church when all the youth group kids
yeah.
are all hanging out together and they don't think that the parents are listening,
Mhm.
and you can hear them, and I'm like, I know what they're talking about now, and like I can like decipher it for other parents, and they're like, what is that, what are they talking about? And I was like, this and this and this, and they're like, what, really? So like it actually taught me like how to understand
Yeah.
like that language,
It's one of
and
those
because my
sad but
kids don't
true
use it that
moments.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids don't use it that much, but their friends do.
Hmm.
And so it's hilarious to listen to, and I can now pick up
I
uh
love the glossary, man. Like I'm staring at a couple that were fascinatingly funny. Like woke up and chose violence, acting with determined malice, or yeet. To throw forcefully, depart, drop, gently place, travel, or dance.
yeah, it can have multiple meanings.
I dare you to make less sense. Yeah. No, it's been a good time. What's coming up for you? Next week is going to be explosions in the sky. I got too much going on, but the week after that, I'm taking off an entire week during your visit down here. I think you got coming up at the end of the month, which would be cool. Anything coming up before then that we should know about?
Nothing off the top of my head. No, I'm just kind of booking appointments down there. Getting ready to. I haven't been down there for a month, so I'm getting ready to go back down to Mad Monk Tattoo. If you're in the area and want to get tattooed, let me know. Follow us on all the socials. But I am looking forward to it. Hopefully, we might be able to do. I don't know. It's going to be a weird week while I'm down there because I'm not going to be the only one visiting you, and so we'll just see if there is space or room to kind of not skip a week. It won't be Tuesday because that's the day I'm flying in.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to maybe do another night shortly if it's even on the itinerary. We'll talk about that in the back channels. But yeah, I think I'm just going to be kind of cruising through this week. The fair starts here this week, so my wife will be
soap domination.
Right. Yeah. So she'll be at the fair for a lot of this, and I'll be at work for the rest of it. And so, but yeah, Tuesday I will be down in your neck of the woods. So a week from today.
Beautiful.
But yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I think that's it for us tonight. We appreciate everyone tuning in and checking us out. Yeah, follow us on socials. Drop us a line if you want to. Modern Relics Podcast at gmail.com. Otherwise, we're on all the socials. And we'll see you next week.
Sounds good.